This is 99% Craps.
Hard 10, hard 10. Here's the number.
I'll take the full odds on the 10, 200 on the hard way. The limit on all the numbers, 250 on the 11. Thank you very much.
Say, you played this game before.
Just once.
Welcome to the Red Eye Gamblers podcast. High above the second largest city, west of the Mississippi. Two chronic craps players, talking craps, playing craps, thinking craps. This is 99% Craps.
Coming up on our 11th episode of 99% Craps, we report on a couple of our recent trips and mix in a few education segments. This segment, the history of dice. And last but not least, we give you a preview of our upcoming Vegas trip. Wednesday, November 21st, 2018, episode 11. The Red Eye Gamblers present 99% Craps. And thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Red Eye Gamblers 99% Craps podcast.
Live from Vegas.
Live from Vegas. So thought we'd give you a little special intro to the episode number 11. And we've actually got two trips that we're talking about that we weren't able to get on a podcast. So we put them together. And then we also added a little educational segment that we're calling the Red Eye Gamblers present a moment in craps history. Basically the history of craps, and we're going to talk about the history of dice. So look for that through the episode, and we just landed in Vegas, so
we just checked into our hotel.
So we're going to start exploring, and we're here for the next 6 days. We're going to release this podcast tomorrow, so when you're listening to this, it's actually going to be today for you.
And we're right in the middle of the Strip.
Yeah, we're dead center in the Strip. Actually, we'll go ahead and say we're at the Cromwell, and we're going to be using that as home base and going out from here, doing a little bit of gambling. So if anybody's in town, come by, say hi, and we'll talk to you when we're not gambling. Anyway, thanks for listening. We really do appreciate you guys listening to us, and we'll talk to you at the end of the episode. Later.
Hopefully with a lot of good news.
Yeah, very good news. Good stories too. All right, later. The Red Eye Gamblers present a moment in craps history. This is the history of dice. Dice are the oldest gaming pieces known to man, which means humans have been playing dice games for an incredibly long time. The oldest known dice date back at least 8,000 years. They consisted of found objects like fruit pits, pebbles, and seashells. Ancient Mesopotamians were throwing bones since at least 5000 BC in present-day Iraq. The direct precursor of today's dice were made of bone, specifically the ankle bone and knuckle bones of hoofed animals like sheep and pigs. These bones are called astragali. They were chosen because they are roughly cube-shaped, with 2 rounded sides that couldn't be landed on and 4 flat ones that could. The most common dice then and now are 6-sided cubes with dots or pips to indicate their values. The reason they have dots instead of written numbers is that people have been using dice since long before they invented numerals. This has been a moment in craps history.
Ooh, fire. At church.
There's no need for that. There's no ad. Road tripping for this podcast, we really can't have you looking out the window and talking about what's out the window because there's no reference for the audience. You know how many times I've heard you talk about Dairy Queen on this podcast, and they're not even a sponsor?
I'm making room for them as a sponsor.
Yeah. Ooh, that looked nasty. So, anyway, let's try to refrain from commenting on what's outside the studio. See, that. Do I need to put you in a big black box?
Yeah,
Do I need to put a
probably.
blindfold over you or something?
That might help. I might fall asleep though.
Yeah, no, you would. Actually, how about that? You start snoring, and I'll put that on the podcast.
That can be the background noise. I hope I can get to my spot today because I actually, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've almost completely stopped putting backspin on my tosses, and I've been wanting to try it at the casino because that's what I've been throwing the last couple of months at the house.
If you have no backspin, then do they have any spin at all?
They kind of float.
Oh, so you mean they're just okay? There's no rotation going on your throw.
Yeah, I've been throwing them as flat as possible.
Well, because the only problem you're going to have is if they don't hit the back wall.
Yeah, I know, but they're pretty mellow. Well, I mean, I know. Well, we'll see how it goes. Go, Creed, it's Clearwater Revisited. I thought it was Revival.
That's exactly what we talked about earlier.
I didn't know we're not even talking craps.
Well, we're definitely not now. We found the 1%. It's when you act like a dog in the car. Ooh, treat, score.
Hey, you're lucky I stayed up the whole trip.
Ugh. Please. You're too excited to go to Disneyland to go to sleep.
This is true. It has been a couple months. That is very, very true. I miss the smell.
There's definitely casino smell. Well, and each property is different. It's funny, I keep hearing about guys doing trips to other casinos, and we've been to most casinos downtown and in Vegas. I would say, I mean, on the Strip and downtown. I'm almost certain I've been to all of them downtown, and then obviously the majority on the Strip. But one of the things we track when we're scouting casinos is the smell of the casino. And I remember a lot downtown that smelled like stripper, that had overpowering perfume added. It seemed like a scent added to get the mildew, the old smell of the old facility out of there. It was almost to the point where it was kind of like you going down the perfume aisle at a mall.
Yeah, I can't do that. My nose is a little.
Yeah, no, there were a few downtown that were like, whoa, it's.
The initial first smell when you walk into the place can be a little overpowering.
Yeah, I don't see any women, but I smell a lot of perfume.
Well, Golden Nuggets to me is like walking into. It's like the men's club. It's such a good smell. It smells like glitter.
You think we'll ever go to Coushatta again?
I miss Coushatta.
Do you?
I like Coushatta, but I mean, it's another 35, 40 minutes out of the way,
Yeah.
Now, I mean, if we were going to go there on a weekend and that was the only place we could get a free room and that's where we were going to stay, I'd be okay with that. But if we're coming to Golden Nugget, there's no reason to drive all the way out there. Well, I guess the other side of that is Golden Nugget meets more of our requirements.
Oh, absolutely. No, there's a reason we don't go to Coushatta besides the distance. Well, when we first started playing, we could hardly get on their table.
And we would always go there, and we'd go there because it was a $5 table.
Well, that was the thing, yeah. And the table that we would have to play on would be a $10 table anyway, because it'd be the only one we could fit her on. And they've got 14-foot tables.
Yeah.
Or 16. So you didn't like it because it was a bigger table to throw from. That was another reason why we stopped going out there. Well, and so what officially was the outcome?
Well, it was, first of all, it was nice to be back in the casino because it had been a while since we had gotten a chance to go between work and personal life. It had been a couple months for us, which is very uncommon. And I think the coffee I drank got me a little jittery.
You had coffee this morning?
Yeah, when you ordered a Stella, I had a coffee. But it was good to be back in a casino. You know, I miss just playing the game. The game of craps is something that we spend hours just playing with nothing riding on it, no money at all, just playing with different types of bets and things that we do at our table. But it's always good to be back where money is on the line because you get that racing of the heart a little bit and a little anxious and a little, mad. You know, I didn't collect much. You know, other than your roll and that other guy's roll, I didn't really. Most of the bets I laid, placed, did not get paid. Like most people were 7-ing out and not. You know, they might get 4, 5, 6 rolls, but they never hit the numbers I was on. Yeah, no, it was definitely a choppy situation. Very, very choppy. I think I just had like 2 good rolls, and then there was another guy at the table who had a decent roll. I don't know. I was maintaining, but you know, it's again, what happens to me and how I win is I hit the bonus. I've got good money on the bonus, and then that catches me up from where I was. Well, and before you hit the bonus, I think we both were actually down. Oh yeah. So it definitely helped that. And then the next turn, the guy hit it again, and I was back up on it, so that was nice. And I guess to get everybody back up to speed, we're just now leaving the Golden Nugget for from a 2-hour trip. 2-hour session, and a collection, and we also were able for the free gift. For the free gift. And this one was you know, I was saying today that it really actually worked this time because it got us to come when we hadn't been in a while. Yeah. So and it was worth it. It was worth it. It was not a twin-sized or a queen-sized. It was a full-size king-size down comforter. Very happy about that. In my book, that's now $100 free gift I got from the casino. Are we re-gifting this one, or are we keeping this one? This is out with the old, in with the new. I'm with you on that. I think it's time to make a donation to the Salvation Army. Clothes and girlfriends. Exactly. So this morning on our ride up, we did discuss the ATS because it was one of the holes in all the plays that we did not mention beforehand. And so we both did play this afternoon on the ATS and had some good results. Yeah, very good results. And actually hit 2 halves back to back, 2 different shooters. Yeah. Which, you know, the probability of that is pretty high, you know. But then again, when it does, then that also tells you it's a warm table. And the table was definitely getting warmer at that point. Yeah, no, pretty much everybody was shooting well except for you again. Yeah, I definitely did not do good. I should have just picked them up and thrown them to the other side instead of trying. It's funny, at the beginning of play, you said you were going to pass the dice first before playing. Oh, and I did. I know. You should have just kept doing that. Right, I should have. Yeah, well, you know. I think once you start a trend, you just need to stick with it. Yeah. I think that's the problem there. The play you made in your very first play, you didn't stick to it. Consistency can be the key to success, or it could be murder, one or the other. Didn't see very many hard ways today. No, 4s and 10s were warm. 4s and 10s were hitting, yeah. Well, and then a couple people, you included, popped 9s quite a bit. Yeah, I threw 9s. I wasn't on the 9. I was on 6s and 8s and 4s and 10s, and
I was on the 6 and 8s at the wrong time. I was on the 4 and 10 at decent times. And then I was good for hitting my first point. And then I was betting $100 with odds. So that kept me alive. And then I hit the small bonus with $10 on it, so that was $350. That was real nice.
That was real nice.
You know, I only needed the 11 and 12, or just the 12?
Just the 12.
So I just needed one more number. And that's all it usually is with me. I can't hit the 2 and 12 for some reason.
But the next person that rolled did not hit a 12 on the come out.
Okay, well, we didn't remember to make the bet either.
No. I was still counting money. I was still repositioning my chips.
That was a good roll. I don't believe the stick man. The stick man said I hit 9 points.
No, it was not 9.
I don't think
It was 4 or 5 maybe. 5.
I think he was trying to milk a tip.
Yeah.
Is what he was doing.
It was not 9.
No, I think it was maybe 4.
Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah, and I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous about putting more odds on the after your first point. It's like first point, I understand you're going to hit it, and so that's when you place the most money out there. But then second point, the odds of hitting the second point,
I think
go up.
We've always both agreed that there
down.
has to be a regression.
Yeah. But the problem is I mean, after a while, I was just doing single odds with every bet because I'd been hitting so many points. But but then again, I mean, that is the play.
That's the and I think that's still the smart play.
It is.
Most of the time,
I'm just pissed off about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hit multiple points, you want to have, you want to use your winnings to make those bets, but reality of it is that doesn't happen all the time. We've been doing this long enough where we know once you're up, you should really consider keeping what you got.
Yeah, that's I think one of my things, and we've been doing for a long time, is making sure you're always putting something in the rack when you win.
Yeah.
Not doing a full press. Every once in a while we do, but for the most part, we're always taking some profit back.
Well, and again, I think that play would be if you're going to be pressing, you press at the beginning, not at the end.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if it's in the first 1 or 2 tosses and they hit a 6 or an 8. Chances are good I'm going to press the first one.
Yeah. And then, I would say if you're going to do a full press, you do that once your bet hits.
Early as possible.
Yeah. If it doesn't hit for a while, there's no point in pressing. Take your money and reduce your bet.
Well, and that one time you had an 8 that it took a while, and he finally hit one after 7 or 8 rolls. You pulled it down, and then I turned mine off, I think, the next roll, and then he 7'd out.
Yeah.
So I mean, we have to play this. We have to play the numbers. I mean, I'd like to feel that this guy's going to roll forever, but the truth of it is we still have to know when to pull. You have to know when to pull out.
Yeah. No, that's the other part of craps. I mean, that's the game of craps. Learning when to turn your bets off.
Yeah, I didn't do that enough today.
I mean, that's how you win money, by not losing all those free bets that are out there.
Yeah.
We're all proud of ourselves. Oh, all that money out there is house money. Okay, and then you lose it. Okay, yeah, I didn't lose my money. I lost. Well, you still did. Then you didn't win either. And instead you lost $150 worth of bets.
And if you pulled that down with the other 200 you made, you'd be $350 instead of 200.
No,
it's about putting your exposure out there early in the roll, and then limiting your exposure as the roll actually progresses.
So reducing your exposure.
Yeah, reducing it. Well, and today I thought I probably saw one of the worst boxmen that I've ever seen. Not that he was terrible, but he just wasn't fast, and he definitely...
I wasn't paying attention to any of the dealers were actually not the greatest today.
Yeah, it seemed like the B set.
Yeah, it was definitely the B team. Or the C team. Yeah. Well, if you really think about a veteran pro move in the casino, it's to take vacation or leave the casino when there's a bunch of idiots that are going to come for a free comforter.
All right.
You know, you're the odds of every idiot that plays in the casino is they're going to be there that day.
Well, hey, we made it.
I will. Idiots party too. I'm a little shocked that they don't hustle more. I don't know if it's just, well, it's the C team. It was the C team.
Well, yeah, they didn't really sell any of the proposition bets like they normally do, but they did ask us that one time if we wanted to put money on the ATS, and we both didn't, and it did manage to hit.
Yeah. No, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, we felt real good about that one.
Well, I think I really thought I was handling the 4 and 10 play today really well.
Yeah, once or twice I thought you should have decreased your bet, but
yeah,
you know,
I was
after it
thinking
hit a
about
couple
it, but
times.
well, but if it hits, it's going to keep hitting, and that's the problem with that bet. I mean, there's times when I think you can decrease it, and then
then the problem is you weren't increasing it either.
And I think the play. So to let everybody know what I was doing, I was buying the 4 and 10 for a quarter, and that was my only play. Just those sisters, just the 4 and 10. I wasn't playing on the pass line. This was on everybody else going around, and they were hitting it once. You know, once you hit it, then that pays $49. You know, throw in $1, they'll give you 2 green chips. And so there's you hit it once and your bet's paid for. And then
well, you're down $3, but yes, you're
$2.
3. You had to pay. You had to pay $1 a piece to buy them, but yeah, for that one.
We're talking about one hitting, not two hitting. So.
But overall, you're down $3.
So, but I thought that I played that well. Did you?
Yeah, like I said, you know, they were hitting. They were kind of semi-hot.
Yeah.
Not hot, but you weren't losing money at it.
No. And I think actually probably the better play that I should have gone to was, I think that you can get $35 and still just pay $1.
Yeah, for your buy, yeah.
So then that would pay $70, as opposed to the $50 or $49 I was getting. So, excuse me. So that would pay actually $59 compared to the $49 I was getting.
Well, I don't know that we've ever discussed buying a number.
Well, the 4 and the 10 is the only play. No, I mean I've thought about it. I thought we've talked about it, but if not, here we go. But then see, I think you can make a proper regression from 35 if you wanted to, because I think 35, if it hits once or twice, I mean there's 70 instead of 50.
Right.
And then you can easily regress down to table minimum on each and still be fine. You know, a quarter each, that's still $50. That's a lot of money out there, but you know, $30, that's reasonable considering you just won, you know, 140. You know, basically you made 100.
Right.
You know, and then you know there's other plays to do. You know, one of the other ones I was doing was when the 4 and 10 hit at a quarter, you know, that would pay $49, and then I would take everything down to 15, and then also take the 5 and 9 at 15. So pocket a little bit of money, and then now I've got 4 bets on the table. You know, so I did that a couple times. So that's another play to do. Just depends on if you think the guy's going to roll a bunch of numbers or if he's just going to roll what he just hit. You know, is he just going to hit the 4 and 10?
Well,
or is he going to go around the place?
I think most of the time it's better to spread your money a little bit.
I think so. I mean, then that's the thing. But see if you can spread it with house money.
Yes.
And I think that was really kind of the play I was going with, is try to widen the net with house money. But I think you have to make your initial bets big enough so that play works out.
Well, much like I ran 60 on 6 and 8 a couple of times, and what I never did do it because I was getting greedy. but I should have hit once and gotten 70 and then gone 66 inside.
Yep.
And then that way I would have, all 4 bets would have been paid for.
Yeah.
And then, if you can hit some, hit some numbers in your...
What is that? That's just repetition and practice.
We talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
Yeah, and discipline.
Discipline. There's a topic we don't want to talk about.
No, we don't like that word.
I don't think anybody does. Nobody likes being disciplined.
Just sounds mean. Well, I will say, while we were there for only a short time, the ATS half hit 3 times.
It did hit. Yeah, we were on a warm table.
We were on it twice.
No, I'm glad I didn't play more of the don't.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
Yeah, I kept kind of thinking about it, but it just seemed like, especially when you got a smaller table, I feel more comfortable playing don't when it's a bigger table, because then people aren't paying attention to you.
You can't be so secretive.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of chips out there that don't know what it all means.
That is true. Yeah, I wanted to play don't come bets on the shooter right next to me.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
But I'd have to basically put the bet right in front of his bet.
Right.
And that's a little too much of too impolite in my book. Well, so what would you have done differently today?
Not rolled. Not touched the dice. I don't think I rolled more than 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Before I would 7 out. And that got expensive because I was putting more money on me.
So you went into it wanting to roll, wanting to play that way?
Yeah, no, my idea was, one of the things we've always discussed is if we're going to put money on somebody, it's going to be, one of us, not other people. So, yeah, no, I definitely went heavier when it was my roll, and then I wasn't doing anything good. I don't think any of my rolls went past 3 or 4 rolls. I think everything was 7s pretty quickly.
Yeah, I remember it being within 6 rolls for sure. Which is average.
There's never been anything average about me.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I would.
Yeah, so would you do anything differently?
I don't know what to change.
Did you risk too much?
No, I don't feel like because I didn't know. I think I played bigger than we have previously, because we've been discussing playing with larger units. But I don't think I actually played out of control.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well, that's the other thing. We weren't there long enough to play out of control, in my opinion.
Yeah, just the dice god weren't on my side today.
Well, and it's not like we were chasing anything.
Right, and it's not like I did terrible.
No, and you never did switch over to the don't, did you?
No, I didn't play anything on the don't. I don't know, the table just seemed kind of warm. It seemed like it was, I didn't want to go against it.
Yeah, no. I really did. I only went against it a couple times, and, it was 50-50 there for me, so. But yeah, no, it definitely was a more positive table than negative table. So yeah, I was with you. I didn't really want to put a negative spin on it. I think that's what happened. The other 2 guys, other people that rolled actually rolled well. You were the last one to pick up on that, and you didn't.
Yeah, I never got it going for me.
But, that's just today. That's just this one session. If we were playing again this afternoon or, later this evening, then things change.
I'd be on fire.
Right. Well, we didn't even play at another location either.
No, which is unusual for us.
Yeah. No, we walked over to LaBerge and tables were fairly congested and didn't look like they were any fun. You know, a couple of old fogies with bar stools at the table and some, I don't know, other characters. But
Well, LaBerge to me seems more of the local area. People go there, and the tourists that are coming in from Texas are going to Golden Nugget.
that's one theory, sure.
Yeah.
I can support that for a little bit. You know, LaBerge's been there longer.
I have some people say they just like LaBerge. That's where they've played, and that's where they always play.
Well, I can understand that.
Well, it was most definitely a little bit of a roller coaster for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That other table sure was doing a lot of cheering, though, but none of those guys, only a couple of the guys seem to have any money.
Well, do you think the Sunday trip works well with your schedule, or is it enough gambling for you?
Well, we talked about coming, I don't know why we talked about leaving so quickly, because we could have stayed a little bit longer, but next time we can. I mean, I still think the Tuesday, Wednesday is my favorite trip, just because of the way that one works out. Being able to duck away from work early and heading out Tuesday night, getting there and spending the night, and,
Sure.
you know, then leaving Wednesday evening, I think it's still my favorite trip, but...
Well, if you have to do a day trip.
Yeah, no, I mean, a day trip is, no, I mean, I would have liked to have played a little bit more.
But that's kind of what I dug about it, was very straightforward. You only had time to do a couple of plays, and stick with it and try to see if they could work or not. You know, it was a different style, but it was pick one and do it.
Right.
You know, or a couple. I mean, I basically did the 10 and 4, 6s and 8s, and then pass line with odds, and then the occasional don't come.
Give yourself to the dark side.
Well, I don't know that I ever really did don't pass with odds.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
If anything, I just did straight odds with the do and don't.
Did it once. I remember you did it once. Don't pass with
Oh
odds.
yeah, I had for $30, so I won
Yeah.
20. Yeah, I'm not sure that we were finding a rhythm or a trend to the table, other than it was better than choppy. People were hitting
Well,
points.
we say that, but no, I mean, only you and that other guy really hit points. Nobody else really hit any points.
I don't recall really, because I wasn't playing on it. I was playing on the box numbers. Well, anything else?
No, I mean, it was a pretty quick trip. You know, I mean, the main reason we came was to get the comforter
True.
and the opportunity to play for a little bit, but we, wanted to keep it relatively short and bumpy.
Right.
No, but it was good to knock off some of the dust,
Yeah, it did feel comfortable to be. Wow, we missed it. It's like going to the friggin' lake on the weekend or something. This is our little thing that we like to do.
But I will say this afternoon in particular was freezing in there.
Oh, jeez, yeah, I don't know.
It was super cold.
I mean, for it being August and hotter than
I mean,
hell
as a
outside.
fat man, I appreciate AC, but when I'm shaking because it's so cold,
Right.
and I was smart enough to bring a jacket.
It's got to be, 60 something in there.
It
at
had to
least.
be 55, 58, I don't know.
The Red Eye Gamblers present a moment in craps history. Did you know the first dice throwers weren't gamblers? They were religious shamans who used astragali for the practice of telling the future by interpreting the results from the gods. It is believed that the shamans were the first ones to make marks on the faces of the bones. This has been a moment in craps history. Slightly different feeling this time, leaving the casino.
Well, always have fun when we play, but always more fun when you win. But I almost broke even. I mean, I'm down a few hundred, but nothing substantial. Could have been much worse. That last roll that I had was brought me back very close to even, actually.
Well, for our listeners, why don't you replay what we did this afternoon?
Well, we drove out to Lake Charles and went to Golden Nugget. It's Sunday. It's what we do. And then we proceeded to play and get up by a substantial amount, and we continued to play instead of taking a break. And we're not disciplined players today. And because of that, we were not successful today.
Not as successful as we've been. Yeah, ego, emotions, and lack of patience and discipline. The lack of money management. All the things that we talk about, the things that we need to tighten up on.
Well, for me, it wasn't even that I played any different. There were just a lot more sevens today. There really were. You know, I would sit out a few hands or a few rolls, and then I'd put it up, and then all of a sudden they'd roll a 7.
Well, that's usually what happens at the end of people's rolls.
Well, it was the beginning of their roll.
Well,
that was
which
the problem.
turned into the end of their roll.
Which made it the end of their roll, yeah. Well, that was where I was running into problems because I was going up large. I mean, I was down 500 within the first 2 or 3 times I played, which was at least a turn around the table because I didn't play but, 3 people.
But we were up.
Oh, on the first session, I was up quite a bit, and we should have called it then. After you hit the ATS, we should have packed it up after that turn and gone and ate a sandwich or something. But instead, we decided to keep playing, and then the table got super cold, and we didn't heed our own advice about leaving as a winner.
No, I don't know what it was. Because realistically, we had already had our good roll for that session, so it's not like we're going to do another good roll. We've talked about this before.
Several times.
Yeah, so I think sometimes we just get lost in the game.
Well, I mean, we enjoy playing the game.
I think that's probably a little more of it.
We thinking we can beat it soundly.
Well, no, we just think we can play it. It goes back to this playing for entertainment and playing to win money. You really have to think and remember you're playing for money. Otherwise, you just are happy to win a bet, and it doesn't matter the amount of it. You just want to bet. It's what we watch every time we play. Everybody else pressing their bets and never taking anything down.
Right.
They're happy and they think they're winning because their bet won, but they don't put anything back. They never take anything.
Well, and I mean, actually, how many times did we get paid from the ATS today? 2 in the morning.
A couple.
Then the last one that I hit.
2 and 2.
Did we hit? Was there another one in the night session?
You hit one. remember if
I don't think there was. If it was, I don't think I was on
so
it.
just 2 in the early.
Oh, no, where was I? Yeah, did I get one? Did I have 424? I did have a 42. No, I did not tonight. No, just the one I hit.
You sure about that?
I think so now.
Yeah, digital tape is free.
Right. Yeah, no, I believe I was the only one that hit it. Well, if it hit any other time, I wasn't on it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but we haven't hit the full ATS in quite some time, actually. We've been hitting halves,
We hit halves all the time.
and that actually pays fairly well.
Well, that's the thing. Whenever we do hit the whole one, that's going to pay really well because we're slowly starting to play bigger. So whenever we do hit it, we're going to have a good amount of money on it, hopefully. As opposed to like a 515 or a 212.
Right, yeah, 212.
That would suck.
Well, I didn't play 212. I either played 424 for $10 on random.
212 for the dealers.
I didn't put the dealers up on that. I put them up on 6 and 8s. But mainly when you or I were throwing, I was doing a $25 ATS, 10, 5, 10.
Yep. That's exactly what I was doing.
Not that many characters at the table today, though. Almost everybody was pretty mellow.
Yeah, actually, it was decent karma at the table.
Yeah, I never actually thought anybody messed up any,
No, everybody was really mellow. Nobody was aggressive. Nobody's belligerent.
Well, it's interesting because I think the casino knows that this was a slower Sunday for them because they had the tables at $10 instead of $15, and then they didn't raise that till later in the afternoon.
I suppose.
Well, I think they sometimes set table limits on how busy they think they'll be. You know, if they think they're going to be busy, I think they put higher table limits out.
Okay.
Well, and definitely was a lot of new dealers that we saw today.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen all of them.
Well, I was thinking it was another one of the B team or C team kind of days since it was a giveaway day.
Well, and I'm telling you, they knew they were going to be slower. I don't know if it's just holiday season or what, but... Well, and they also know by reservations.
I mean, all of the craps tables were just as busy as they always are.
Yeah, for the most part, all three tables were getting played on.
I mean, for the most part, what happens is that you have one table that's busy and the other two are usually half busy. And then they'll lower the minimum on the other table in order to get people there eventually. Crapless just goes up and down because it's crapless. It was the same 3-table configuration.
Right.
And then when we got there, it was $10 as far as the minimum bet. But that didn't matter because we never really played less than a quarter. Everything was working at the beginning.
No, and it worked at the very end for me.
And it's those pockets where it doesn't work that we got to get rid of. My DC play was 50-50. It wasn't. I wasn't making any headway with it.
Yeah, I mean, even though the tables were choppy, people were still rolling, and they were all over the place.
No, yeah, I mean, you didn't have a lot of first points, and then you had people that would hit like 5 points. It was just really, really hard to determine. The table was very spontaneous, very sporadic.
Well, I will say this. I felt like around 7:30, watching the dealers, because they got the shift change was at 8, right? Or maybe slightly after 8, whatever. But I heard them talking about and yawning and talking about how they were ready for their shift to end, and it was a little draining of the table, maybe, energy-wise.
Well, because it's their Friday.
Sure.
So they were all off. So they were going to be off tomorrow. You know, so that, yeah, they're all excited because the weekend's over. You know, their work week's over.
And then it was funny as the guy next to me had asked me, how's the table? And I said, well, I've lost a little bit, so I might not be the person to ask. But I said, it's been a little cold, but you know, those 3 kids that were right next to me, I didn't really want to play much while they were there because, you know, they're making $15 bets and just kind of crowding everything, and you know,
Right.
I just didn't. And I wanted to watch the table for a little bit, and so I wasn't playing. And so this guy, I guess, next to me is watching me, so he's not playing. And then finally, the first person I played, he did too, and the guy was the one that back to back the 8, and so we won. And then I came down off of that guy, and he kept playing and lost. But it was funny because then the next person I didn't play, and he didn't play, and then the next person I played, and he played. But then when I was rolling, he turned around and talked to some people, so he missed the 3 points I shot and the ATS. So.
Huh.
And then he was like, good shooting, and I was like, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So then I decided I'd try to play him, and he crapped out.
Huh. Yeah. There was no back-to-back success stories. Yeah, whoever had a good roll didn't have a second good roll.
Yeah, nobody was consistent,
No.
really. Well, and I mean, neither was I. I had a couple great rolls, but other than that, nothing.
You were due. I knew you were due, but you did. I had a lot of money on you when you did.
I did too, and I had.
You did like that twice at least.
And I was right there with you on that one. I had a lot up there too.
It's nothing worse than a 0.7 out after you decide you're gonna take a swing.
Yeah.
It's more like you get smacked in the face. Take that discipline.
Yeah, I mean that really hurt. And I mean, what do you know? I mean,
but that's what you know it's going to happen. That's why you have the bankroll that you do. Bankroll dictates your play. We've said that over and over. So you can take those hits. You know, that's why you can't take the massive swings because you don't have the bankroll for it. You know, and then if you miss one of those swings, you can't take one again.
Yeah.
And then you definitely can't double up on that next swing to try to catch up from that. Because then now you're in the hole 3 times.
As much as we would love that worked out in our favor, it does not.
No. For as much as you for as lucky as you think you are, you're not. You might have some luck, but you don't have that luck. Yeah, I'm starting to get to the point where I think that the play that I want to play means that I must bring a bigger bankroll in order to play that way. Like, playing small ball isn't doing it for me. I mean, I'd much rather win a black chip every roll. But you have to have the bankroll to sustain the hits.
Yes, you do.
That you will have, 4 out of the 10 times that you roll, or 4 out of the 10 times that you bet big. And we thought that we could roll more than we really should, as opposed to looking for that one roll that we had that we knew we could do. We kept thinking we could do something better.
Well, I mean, at least in the night session, we left after the good roll. If we had done that today, when we were both up, this would be a completely different conversation.
Well, sure.
We failed to walk away when we should have. Well, and I was just thinking what I had won is like, okay, I can win more.
Got a little greedy.
Yeah, I got greedy and did not stick to the tenets that we should be.
Wow. Didn't stick to the plan.
And there were just so many 7s. really hard to get something going when, you know, first a 7's appearing in the first 2 or 3 rolls of everybody's roll. And the stick guy tried to tell me that the die rolling into the bowl, the dice bowl, that happens frequently. And I was like, you know, I mean, I know I don't work 40 or 50 hours a week like these guys do, but I mean, we've spent some time at the craps table, and I mean, I've seen it, but it is not a common occurrence.
No, I've seen it maybe 3 times.
I can think of 2 or 3 times off the top of my head.
Yeah, no,
but I mean, it's
not a common occurrence.
It's not. No, but with more of the frequency of making larger and larger bets, it's getting easier not to be nervous about having that kind of money up there.
There is something to be said for that. No, you still, like I mentioned it the last time, I mean, there still is this shortness of breath and this tense sensation you get when you start raising your bets. You know, it's a little bit of that self-conscious guilt and doubt that creeps in. Yeah, for you to feel comfortable that, oh, it's okay.
That's a mighty big stack of green chips.
It's okay to feel that way. You just gotta get used to it.
Now, I heard one of the dealers say that it's not very often that he sees both dice go off the table. That one will go off and one will stay on, but it's very rare that both dice go off. And then I was starting to think about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know that I recall ever seeing both dice go off. Usually one sticks in the rail or stays on the table and one goes off.
Sure. I've thrown both off the table before. And I've seen it. Again, it's another rare occurrence.
Oh, buddy. Are we on?
We are.
I did ask the stick man what happened to the bubble crabs.
Push the button!
And his response was that they decided to pull it out because they were having so many issues with it. He was saying something about that the foam dice were sticking to, like, I guess the bottom part of the glass and where that rubber part that goes around it, and so a number wasn't being able to be called, and so they were thinking about putting rubber around it, which I don't know how that would possibly help, because rubber is pretty similar to foam, I guess, stickiness wise. I don't know. But he was just saying that it was breaking down too much and wasn't calling enough numbers, and so they decided to get rid of it.
Huh.
He did not say whether they would plan on bringing another one back. But I mean, there's got to be more than just one company that has a craps bubble machine.
There are 2.
2?
Yeah, possibly a third, but I know of 2. It's just a question of, do they want it or not?
I think that they've got those bubble craps.
Push the button!
And the roulette machines have to pay for themselves. I mean, you would think they would have to generate enough money that they do okay. I mean, it's with all the slot machines you have, they're not that expensive of a machine. Well, who knows? What do you think one of those cost?
We don't know.
50 grand? 100 grand? That's an interesting question. That would be kind of cool to buy a used bubble craps
Push the button!
machine and have it in the middle of your living room.
It's a whole different kind of video game.
Yeah.
Although it's bigger than a craps table.
It's pretty big. And then you'd have to have friends come over to play.
You have to have it hardwired too.
Right. I was really hoping to make it 3 in a row.
Told you not to get your hopes up.
Yeah, I told you not to jinx us. Well, I still think I'd take 2 out of 3 wins every time, but
proves that we're human. Tells us we still need to keep practicing.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
It humbles us.
yeah, I mean, I have little mantras that I chant in my head because, you know, so many conversations go on in there. But, you know, one of them is always earn it every time. And yeah, the one time that I lost big, I hadn't earned it and I just played it. And then the government came and seized all of my belongings.
So for the most part, how did the dice feel to you?
I got into rhythms on those 2 big rolls and they felt real good, and I mean, even on my 0.7 outs, they felt good until I saw the outcome. Well, I didn't drink any coffee today or have any caffeine. I did Sprite, and so that was not a problem today. I mean, the dice felt good. I want to say they looked good, but, you know, every time I always said it was a pretty throw, it was always a 7.
It's just like at home. Yeah. Well, you hit the horn a little bit today.
I didn't hit the horn that much today.
You had 11s and 12s
well, I
and
did.
2s. You didn't have money on it, but you were hitting it.
Well, I did have those 2 yos on my come out roll, which paid me. And I had 25 on the pass line, so that paid me $50 on those 2 rolls for just an 11.
Yeah, throwing out of position, I didn't like at all.
Yeah, we got to get you back into your spot.
It's almost impossible. The tables have been too crowded, unless we go to an empty table. And I guess that's what we need to do, but the empty table, I think, was 25 when we first got there.
It was.
So it's just a little outside of our price range.
Well, not really.
Well, it is when you don't. Well, I
it's
guess
really
if
only
you turn it off, as opposed to going down one step further.
Yeah, at $25, there's not much of a regression play available.
No. But it's still a play. You're still making some money. Just not making a mint. So is there anybody doing anything to piss you off?
No, not really. Everybody seemed to be kind of mellow today, and
Late bets?
no, not really. No, everybody was not like last week with that kid that was doing the field bets. Nobody really was doing that on my side of the table, at least. Yeah, no, actually it was, and even those 3 kids that were next to me during the night session, although they didn't really know how to play, I heard one of them saying, you know, like, make sure your hands are up, you know, like he was giving a little etiquette to the other kid who knew nothing. So, I mean, at least they were being respectful of the game. But no late bets on my end of the table really at all.
Yeah, no, everybody seemed to know what they were doing.
Well, I will say that one guy that came up to the table when I was rolling during the day session, the guy that said he lost like 600 on me because he was playing Don't.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
He was making some weird bets. Well, you saw that he was playing like $40 or $50 hopping the inside numbers?
I only saw him do that once, I think.
Oh, he was doing that several times. So he would hop, so he was putting up 160 to hop 5, 6, 8, 9. $40 each. So 160 total. And then if it hit one of those numbers, it was paying 320. And then because he was coming down. So he was getting $40 out of those bets, losing 120, and then getting 280. So he was getting 320 total.
Okay.
15 times 14? I mean 15 times 40? Is that right? No, that might be too much.
600.
Yeah.
It's 4 times 15 is 60.
Yeah.
So 40 would be 600.
But that's what they were paying him, and that's, I don't know, I mean, you're just really doubling your money. That's a tough way to, I don't know that I like that bet.
I don't know that you're supposed to like it.
Well, I mean, it's only,
Casino's supposed to like it.
yeah, it's a one-time roll. Oh, I guess it's 20 times 14 because the $40 is hopping, it's covering two numbers, so it's 20 apiece. 20 times 14 is 280. I think that's what it is. I don't know, it just seemed like a super crazy bet. And then he was place betting like, I don't know, I couldn't pay attention to him and to what I was doing. But I know that when she was paying him, she was having to do some serious math to make his numbers because he was doing some weird numbers.
Yeah.
Like 83 and then like 81 or maybe 76, and she took $1 but left him 100 on a 6 or an 8. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't catch what it all was just because I couldn't pay attention to him and me, but it was some very interesting, not normal numbers. That was when she was telling him that he said something about, well, the ladies like it hard or something like that, and she was like, yeah, you're making my life hard right now. That guy was probably the only one that was kind of a weird one. Everybody else was pretty mellow today. And it really is amazing how often I have to remind the dealers to pay themselves on the 6 or an 8.
Yeah, you'd think that would be something that you wouldn't have to worry about. I guess their job's not that easy.
No, we know their job's not that easy. I could see in the future technology making craps where you're playing on like a glass top or, you know, an image of it, and you're able to shuffle digital chips across to the dealer for your bets.
Oh, really?
No, sure. At some point that's got to be possible. It's probably already possible, just nobody's probably thought about it. But there you go, there's the next craps table to sell. Digital craps. Well, for a little bit I thought FPL was back. For those listeners who don't know FPL, that's First Point Lewis. He was back for a minute or two and then he disappeared.
Yeah. I think I caught you on a couple. Actually, you hit quite a few points. I don't think I hit more than one ever.
No, you hit a couple points.
No, Not too often. No, my rolls weren't very good today.
Well, you were definitely shooting out of
Wrong
out of
position.
your spot, yeah. Yeah, I did hear the guy in the hook asking this other guy, well, one of the older guys, why he was making cum bets. He was like, "What's the advantage of that?" And I so badly wanted to yell across the table, "Absolutely none." Yeah, one of those old guys just kept making. He basically just kept $10 or $15, whatever it was, in the cum bet area, but he was across the board. He had bets across the board. And I mean, I don't know how, in the long run, you can ever expect to make money that. I mean, you're just leaving too much up.
I agree.
You know, like if you have a $15 5, and then you have a cum bet, and then the 5 hits, you get paid 21, and then your cum bet goes up, and then you can pull down your $15 bet, so you've got $36. So he was putting 30 of it as odds on the $15 cum, and taking like $6. But it just seemed like so much to risk to get it to there. Like you could have just played it straight from the beginning, had already taken that hit and come down off of it already. I don't get cum bets. I don't see where the advantage of that is at all.
So no other insightful pearls of wisdom?
No, not really.
You're not talkative when you lose?
Not as much. Hey, I was the one babbling for minutes on end. You haven't said much.
Well, I'm in shock.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, as far as I feel like I still, I mean, I did lose a little bit of money, but I still feel like, you know, it wasn't a big amount. And, you know, I mean, I'm just as confident to return on another day, and you know, I feel that I'll be successful again. So, you know, hopefully I can take this lesson that, you know, we have to listen to the rules that we've set ourselves, and we didn't do that today, and that's why we left not with as much money as we normally do. Well, with less money than we came. And it's because we didn't leave when we were up.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. After you hit that last ATS during the day session, we should have left.
Yeah, or at least after yours, after that.
Well, I mean, that was definitely the highest point I was at winning, so I mean, that would have been the time to have left. But instead, we continued to play, and we fed our money back to the crap gods, and they did not find our offerings sufficient to return any upon us. Yeah, 6s and 8s really were not popping for me today like they were last time. Not many 6s or 8s, and just a lot more 7s.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know that I made many plays differently than I did the last 2 trips. You know, I played pretty much the same way, just wasn't having as much success. Well, and you made out like a bandit at Isle of Capri today.
Well, I don't know about bandit, but
Yeah,
I
you
left
did.
a winner.
You left with 2 Halloween mugs, $25 in chips, And then you turned a $7 investment on the bubble craps machine
Push the button!
into $22.34. That's a W in my book, buddy.
All right, yeah.
Very similar to what I did the last time. Just 7s were popping, 6s and 8s were not.
Oh.
I mean, the only time I pretty much was very consistent with my bets, except for the one time that I rolled and then we both loaded up and kind of took a swing at it and I 7'd out immediately. That was the only time that my bet really differed in size. Other than that, it was always the same. And it was the same thing I had been doing the last 2 weekends that we made it down there, was playing and taking a couple hits and coming down, but I just wasn't getting those couple of hits. But I was still turning off after, when it got to the after the 5th row, I was coming down, whether it hit or not. But last weekend, the 6s were coming up or the 8s were coming up, and I was, getting a couple hits and making that money. And then when at least a 7 came on a come out, or after a come out, I had some wins. I hadn't had any, I wasn't getting the same amount of wins. Yeah, 7s definitely were popping tonight. Definitely a choppy table. Because I'm really trying to think about the way I played and if there's anything I could have done differently. And I mean, I think I played consistently, relatively patient. That might be argued a little bit. Just didn't get any luck going our way.
No, not today.
I think if you're gonna hop the 5, 6, 8, and 9 at $40 a piece, it would almost make more sense to do $10 hops and play $30 on the place bets. And that way, if it the hop hits, you're making 10 times 14, so you're making some decent money. And then you're also getting paid on your place bet. That way, your place bet is still it's more than one roll, and like the hop bet's a one roll bet.
Yeah.
I mean, he was basically doubling his money if the 5, 6, 8, or 9 hit. But I don't know. That's a lot for a one bet roll. I mean, to be honest with you, if you're gonna put 160 hopping, you're putting 40, 40, 40, 40. Why not just put 160 on the field, covering more?
The Red Eye Gamblers present a moment in craps history. Researchers have found that dice made before 400 BC or during the Roman era were large and typically adhered to the 7s configuration. The 7s configuration is when the opposite sides of the die add up to the number 7. For example, 1, 6, 2, 5, and 3, 4. This configuration first appeared in Mesopotamia around 1300 BC. This is the configuration commonly used today, but unlike the symmetrical cubes that we know, Roman dice were highly irregular in shape. They were made from a variety of materials like bone, metal, and clay, and were often squished and lopsided. Researchers say that ancient Romans deliberately used irregular dice because they thought it would help them manipulate the outcome of the roll. This has been a moment in craps history.
And we're back. And we'd like to thank you for listening to episode 11.
talking about a couple of our casino trips and introducing the history of craps, or a moment in the history of craps.
Mon, we're live in Vegas. We got in last night, checked into the hotel, and we did some scouting around, and just had some fun, just relaxed. We tried generally not to play the first night when we get in, just to get used to where we're at with all the bright lights and everything that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on a plane for hours, and you need to stretch out a little bit. And
well, actually, what's funny is probably around 2:00 a.m. Vegas time, when we came back to Cromwell and we were talking about shutting it down. Actually, it was after that, because we didn't get up here till after almost 2:45. I saw 2 tables open with our spots open, and I was like, oh, I want to play so much. But I was, by that point, I was exhausted. I mean, my feet were really tired. I was having trouble just focusing.
Yeah, no, we had walked at least 5 miles already. And well, I mean, we ate well. We had our really good pizza over at the Aria.
Yeah, James Beard nominated winner. I think
winner. He's a winner.
No, that pizza is incredible.
Yeah. Shout out to the 50/50 place, pizza place at the Aria. It's all in the back by the poker tables. Best slices of pizza out there, period.
Yeah, and it's funny is I'm going to stop eating salads and trying to be healthy. The salad was $13.50, and the slice of pizza was $6.50.
Yeah, no, I remember one of our trips to Vegas. We pretty much we were on a budget. We were looking for less than $15 tables, and then we also weren't spending money at restaurants.
This is true.
And so we basically just had slices of pizza at all the places that had pizza.
Well, I think we did, but I think we also did White Castle.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I think we even did Shake Shack that time also.
Yeah. No, there's affordable ways to eat out here for very with good food.
And not even using your comps or anything like that if you don't have any out in Vegas.
Yeah, no, you can. I mean, that's the thing. You do a buffet, and then you can have a slice of pizza later or something like that. So you can make it work out here on a budget, easy.
Yeah, but we definitely did some walking. We kind of scouted out the other end of Vegas for us.
Yeah.
Because we usually are Cosmo, New York, and what
corner
was the Monte Carlo, and that side. Now we've kind of moved down the way a little bit.
We've been to one side of Cromwell, and now we're focused on the other side, which is the first side would be the Mandalay Bay to Bellagio
Treasure
side.
Island.
And then now the new side is Caesars to, basically we went to the Stratosphere last night for the first time.
Well, and I will say the Stratosphere, if you haven't done that in Vegas, free admission. We rode 106 floors all the way to the Sky Lounge, and I will say the view was phenomenal.
Yeah, at night it was very, very clear, so you could see lights as far as you could see.
It was gorgeous.
And then you could see the Strip very, very well as downtown.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Yeah. So, and then they've got a restaurant there and a lounge. The lounge is open to everybody. It's actually first come first served seating. So if you see a spot, you can take it. And then they've got a bar. They've got 2 bars and then cocktail waitresses.
Well, and a couple of floors up above that, where all the rides were.
Yeah, there's actually the rooftop. You can still go to the rooftop.
I'm still gonna say I wouldn't have rode any of those because I value my life.
Yeah, so you can do the whole bungee jumping and dangling off the edge in a swing, and then they've got actually it's not even a roller coaster ride.
It's like 20 feet long.
It's the car of a roller coaster that fits maybe 8 people, and it's on a track that's 100 feet long.
Oh, it's not even that long. Do you think?
I mean, it's about maybe 3 times the length of the car, because all it does is go forward and backward.
It might be 50 feet, but yeah.
It does, you're looking down at a 45-degree angle,
just
though.
One time those brakes don't work. Well, we didn't even check the prices on those rides, but I will tell you this, I definitely would not pay to have the bejeezy scared out of me.
Okay, well, we'll make sure you don't have to pay for that.
And I'm not afraid of heights. I was completely comfortable up on the deck. I'm just not going to hang off the side of a 110-story building on a carnival ride.
Right.
I've been to carnival rides in our hometown.
Yeah. Well, then we left there and basically hit.
Well, we went to Aria.
We went to Aria. Well, we already talked about the pizza. So I went to Aria and then back to the Cromwell, and then basically went to Caesars, Mirage, Treasure Island, and then we head over to the Venetian, and then Harrah's and Flamingos, and on the way back.
And the reason we really want to just see all these, these casinos, we want to visit their tables. We check size of tables. We check the type of felt. We check whether we feel like if the area is comfortable. Is there a lot of crosswalking areas that people could distract us? I mean, we do some scouting.
Some tables had triple on the field.
And the new bets. The fielder's choice.
There's a new bet. We've heard about it before, but yeah, now we've seen it, and it's in Vegas. And was it M Life Properties?
I could not tell you that, sir.
I think was it a Bellagio? Might have been a Bellagio. If it was Bellagio, then it's M Life. But anyway, we obviously will have plenty more information from the rest of our trips.
I didn't like the bet at all.
Since we're going to be here for another 5 days, so. Look forward to a couple more podcasts coming out about the trip that we are on right now. So we're looking to play probably at least 4 sessions a day, and then make a swing here and there. So we'll give you the details in episode 12 and on. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the other side of the craps table.
Cheers.
The Red Eye Gamblers present a moment in craps history. Starting in 1100 AD, dice became more standardized, which may suggest that European gamblers became increasingly concerned about rooting out players who tried to cheat with unfair dice. The cubes got smaller, leading to a change in design. Previously, a die's pips or dots were surrounded by 2 rings. In the 12th century, there was room for only a single ring. The configuration of dice also shifted to a numbering style popular in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, which saw opposing sides of a die add up to a prime number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. No one knows exactly why the change happened, just that it was accepted. During the Renaissance, dice underwent yet another significant change. Starting around 1450 AD, they became less regular in size and pip style, but more standardized in symmetry and configuration, which shifted back to the 7 system. The increasing attention paid to symmetry in particular may have been driven by new knowledge of a field of mathematics that grew during the Renaissance: probability. Until then, the prevalent attitude had been that dice and similar objects fell the way they did because of supernatural forces or the indirect action of the gods. This has been a moment in craps history. Coming up on our next episode, we talk about our most recent casino trip. The Red Eye Gamblers, thank you for your time, and hope you got a little something out of this week's podcast.
Here's to rolling 7s on the come out, and may your 6s and 8s always be hard. Cheers.